Some people don't fall apart when life breaks them. They wake up, answer messages, go to work, and keep promises, while something inside them quietly disappears. This research examines what happens when survival lasts too long, when strength itself becomes the force that slowly erases you. Emotional exhaustion is not dramatic. It doesn't always show up as tears or breakdowns. More often, it looks like functioning without feeling, surviving without dreaming, and smiling without meaning. This story follows a burned-out soul moving through quiet days and fractured memories. It reveals how prolonged survival reshapes identity, blurs moral boundaries, and leads to a painful question: who do you become when strength is all you've ever been allowed to be? Before we continue, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Tomorrow's story is one you don't want to miss: the psychology of people who are emotionally exhausted. There was a time when mornings meant something, not happiness, just texture. The weight of sunlight through curtains, the smell of coffee, the small anticipation of the day unfolding. Now mornings arrive flat. The alarm goes off, the body moves before the mind fully wakes. Shower, clothes, keys. The routine is efficient, polished by repetition. There is no resistance, but no enthusiasm either. Life happens the way weather happens, unquestioned and unavoidable. This is what emotional exhaustion looks like when it has settled deep. The protagonist, let's call them the survivor, is not visibly broken. They answer emails, they show up on time, they listen when spoken to, they even smile when required. But the smile feels borrowed, like a gesture learned by memory rather than feeling. Inside, there is a wide, quiet space. Not sadness, not anger, just absence. The brain learned this state slowly. During months, maybe years of stress, pressure, disappointment, and responsibility, it adapted. Feeling everything became too expensive. So the mind made a decision: reduce sensation to preserve function. Numbness is not a failure, it is a survival strategy. The survivor doesn't feel deeply anymore, not because they don't care, but because caring once cost too much. Every emotion had a price. Anxiety drained the body, hope led to disappointment, love demanded energy that was never replenished. So the system shut parts of itself down. At night, the survivor lies in bed scrolling through nothing in particular. The screen glows, time passes. There is no restlessness, but no peace either. Sleep eventually arrives, not as comfort, but as shutdown. One evening, while brushing their teeth, they catch their reflection. The face looks older, not in years, but in weight. The eyes seem duller, as if something behind them stopped speaking. For a moment, the survivor tries to remember the last time they felt fully present. Nothing comes. That moment doesn't cause panic, it causes confusion. Was I always like this? No. Somewhere deep under routine and restraint, a memory stirs, a version of self that felt things sharply. Who cared too much? Who dreamed without calculating the cost? Who believed effort would be rewarded? The memory fades quickly. It feels impractical now, almost naive. The survivor rinses their mouth, turns off the light, and goes to bed. This is the quiet collapse. No one notices because nothing stops working, but something essential has already gone missing, and it will matter later. Numbness can carry you far, but it cannot protect you from consequences. Relationships begin to change first. Friends say things like, "You feel distant lately," or "You're not really here anymore." Loved ones sense the shift before they can explain it. Conversations become shorter. Pauses stretch longer. Emotional bids go unanswered, not out of cruelty but exhaustion. The survivor listens and nods, apologizes sometimes, promises to do better. But inside there is a quiet calculation happening. I don't have the energy for this, not because they don't care, but because every emotional interaction now feels like a demand on an already overdrawn system. Even love feels heavy when you are depleted. The brain, under chronic stress, changes priorities. It stops optimizing for connection and starts optimizing for conservation. This is not selfishness, it is neurological triage. Still, guilt creeps in. A missed call from someone who needed comfort, a birthday forgotten, a conversation postponed again and again. Each small failure stacks on top of the last. The survivor tells themselves, "I'll show up when things calm down." But things never calm down. One relationship ends quietly. No fight, no betrayal, just a soft conversation filled with resignation. The other person says, "I don't think you have space for me." And the survivor doesn't argue because it feels true. Afterward, the guilt hits harder than grief. Guilt is different from sadness. Sadness asks to be felt. Guilt demands repair. And repair requires energy the survivor no longer has. So the guilt becomes another weight carried silently. They begin to feel like their survival has come at a cost paid by others. This is one of the hidden wounds of emotional exhaustion. Moral fatigue, the slow erosion of values under the pressure of necessity. Choices become less about right and wrong and more about what is possible. The survivor didn't choose to become distant. They chose to stay functional. But functionality has a price. Late at night, guilt surfaces in fragments. Thoughts like, I'm failing people, or I've changed in a bad way, but the thoughts don't lead to action. They simply hover, unresolved. The survivor begins to wonder if surviving like this is a kind of betrayal, not just of others, but of who they once were. And that question opens the door to memory. Identity does not disappear all at once. It erodes. The survivor starts noticing moments where the past feels unreal. Old photos look like a stranger. Former passions feel distant, even embarrassing. The idea of wanting something deeply now feels dangerous, because desire implies vulnerability. There was a time when they knew what they wanted. Not clearly, not confidently, but instinctively. Now, when asked simple questions, what do you enjoy? What do you hope for? The survivor hesitates, not out of secrecy, but confusion. The answers don't come. Instead, the mind offers replacements. I just want things to be manageable. I just want peace. I don't want to fall apart. These are not dreams, they are defenses. Long-term emotional exhaustion reorganizes identity around avoidance. The self becomes a set of coping mechanisms rather than values. You stop asking what feels meaningful and start asking what feels survivable. One day, the survivor returns to a place that once mattered. Maybe a street tied to an old ambition. Maybe a notebook filled with plans. Maybe a song that once stirred something alive. They expect pain. Instead, they feel nothing. That absence hurts more than grief would have, because grief would mean something is still alive enough to mourn. The realization settles slowly. I didn't lose myself suddenly. I abandoned myself gradually. Each time they chose endurance over expression. Each time they swallowed disappointment to keep going. Each time they told themselves, later never came. This is the cost of resilience no one talks about. Strength can delay healing. Endurance can become avoidance. And surviving without processing pain does not make you stronger. It makes you quieter inside. The survivor finally sees it clearly. They are not broken. They are over-adapted, built to withstand too much for too long. And now, the very strategies that kept them alive are preventing them from living. This realization creates a crossroads. Continue like this, functional, numb, morally exhausted, or stop pretending that strength alone will save them. The breaking point does not arrive as drama. There is no collapse on the floor, no screaming confession, no cinematic rescue. It arrives quietly as exhaustion layered on exhaustion. One day, the survivor simply cannot push anymore. They cancel something without explanation. They let a message go unanswered without justification. They sit still without trying to optimize the moment, and something unexpected happens. Nothing falls apart. The world does not punish them for stopping. No catastrophe follows rest. The nervous system, so long on high alert, hesitates, then begins to soften. This is surrender. Not giving up on life, but giving up on the performance of strength. Healing, the survivor realizes, does not come from trying harder. It comes from creating safety, from allowing limits, from telling the truth without defending it. They begin small, saying, I don't have capacity, instead of apologizing endlessly. Asking for help without explaining their worthiness. Resting without turning it into productivity. Emotions return slowly, not as floods but as flickers. Sadness one day, anger another, even moments of quiet relief. The survivor learns to sit with them instead of pushing them away. They understand now, numbness was never the enemy. It was a message, a sign that something inside needed permission to stop fighting. They will not become who they were before. That person didn't know how to protect themselves. Instead, they are becoming someone new, someone honest about limits, someone who understands that strength is not endless endurance, but listening when the body says enough. The survivor looks forward now, not with certainty, but with openness. Meaning is no longer forced. It is allowed to return on its own time. And for the first time in a long while, life feels quiet in a different way. Not empty, just honest. Emotionally exhausted people are not weak. They are people who stayed functional when it would have been easier to fall apart. But healing does not ask them to be stronger. It asks them to stop running from the silence and finally come home to themselves. Thank you for watching. Cheers.